Welcome everybody to our Getting Started with NotebookLM, one of our webinars in our AI in 30 Minutes series. Just introduce ourselves. Not everybody is from Teachers College, so we are from the Digital Futures Institute, or DFI, which is a department at Teachers College, which is part of Columbia University. I'm Debbie Beaudry. I am the Director of Academic Technology. Ernest?
Hi, my name is Ernest Chan. I'm Senior Educational Technologist of DFI, and today I'm going to take care of the Q&A section. If you have any question, just feel free to put it there.
Thank you, Ernest. Okay, another, just a little bit of housekeeping. We have the chat turned on. So if you have information that you want to share with others who are in the webinar, you can feel free to put that in the chat. But if you have questions for me or Ernest, please put them in the Q&A. It's a little bit hard sometimes to keep track of questions in the chat. This session is being recorded. I want to make sure it's being recorded. Yes, okay, it's being recorded. And we will post the recording to YouTube. It will probably take about a week because we have to edit it and then put some captions in. If you want captions now, during the webinar, you can click on the Show Captions icon on your toolbar. So let's look at the agenda. In 30 minutes, we have a lot to cover. So first, what is NotebookLM? We'll talk about adding sources to the notebook, how to use the AI chat to chat about sources, how to create new resources, how to use it for a study guide, and considerations for use. After the presentation, I will share with you probably tomorrow. I'll be able to get the slide presentations out to everybody as well. And in case you're interested, all of the graphics that have the images that have been created, we used AI to generate them, and we tell you which tool we use to generate them and the prompt that we used. So what is NotebookLM? It is a Google product. It's built on top of Google's Gemini, which is their AI product. And the analogy that I can think of for any of you who ever did use a 3-ring binder back in the day, you would put in your 3-ring binder, you would put all of your information, your papers, so that you could keep everything together. Well, NotebookLM is like an electronic version of that on steroids because it has AI in it as well. So with NotebookLM, you upload your resources about a specific subject. And the sources can be text, audio, video. Actually, they can also be a website. We'll talk about that. Once you have your sources loaded in, then you can use AI to answer questions about all of your sources. And then the AI can also create study guides, mind maps, flashcards, quizzes, podcasts, video presentations, and much more that they keep adding to weekly, it seems. So let's take a look at what it looks like. I'll give you a demonstration. I'm going to give you a little explanation, and then we'll flip back and forth between the presentation and actually using NotebookLM. So as I said, NotebookLM is a Google product. So you need to log into your Google account. Here at Teachers College, AI has been turned on for faculty and staff, so you can access this with your TC Google account. And the plan right now is for January 1st that students will also have that access to the TC AI, Google AI. In the meantime, students can use their personal Google accounts to create notebooks. So you access it by going to notebooklm.google.com. So I'll click on that. And that will take me. I've already created some notebooks. But if you're starting from scratch, you can just choose create a new notebook. As soon as you do, it asks you for sources. We'll get to that in 1 minute. Let me close that out because I'm just going to give this a title. There is test. There we go. And now when I go back to all my notebooks, I click on this icon. There we have my new notebook. So that one has 0 sources in it. I'm going to show you one that already has some sources uploaded, and then I'll upload a source for you to see how that works. So I created this one, Assessment in the Age of AI. I'll click on it, and there are actually three pieces that you can see for NotebookLM. The panel on the left are all of the resources that I've uploaded to this particular notebook. So I have in here some PDFs, I have in here links to websites, and if I want to add something else, I will click on the plus sign for add source, and now I can choose a file. I can choose a file from my computer to upload any of these formats that it has here. I can go to my Google Drive. I can provide a link to a website, a YouTube video, or I can copy in some text. Let's say I went to a lecture and I took some notes. I can copy and paste that in here as well. So let me choose website. I am going to, this website here I found, AI Risk Management Framework. I'm going to copy the URL, and then I'll go here and I'll click on website and I'll paste in the URL. So you can do multiple URLs at the same time, but let me just click insert. Now, oh, that went so fast. Here it is. It just processed it. And now if I click here, it's taken the website and turned it into all text. So when the notebook, when we use the AI to ask questions about it, that's the source that it will use. The other option that you have is discover sources up here. And if I click on that, it says, what are you interested in? So I will say assessment in the age of AI for graduate students. There we go. It can search the web or it can search my Google Drive. I'm going to click submit. I will tell you that this is not something I use because it comes up with a list of sources, just like the title of the website. And it's hard to like look at each one of them this way. Oh, it even found some PDFs that are out there. And you could import this in here, but personally, I prefer to just use Google or some other search engine to find the website so I can more easily look at them and vet them before I decide to put them in there. So as we can see here, we have all of our sources listed here. And then in the middle is a chat bot, and it's telling me I have 12 sources loaded in here. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the sources. So the file types that you can have, PDF, TXT, audio, you can put in website links, Google Docs, Google Slides, so duplicate on that. YouTube videos, those are the only videos that you can put in YouTube. You're putting in a link to the YouTube video, copy text, and then you can create your own notes. All right, so we just did that. So let's talk about sources, a bit more information. So you are limited to 50 sources with the free version. If you're using TC's, Google Gemini, then that is the free version. So you only have 50 sources that you can put into each notebook. If you want to use notebook with your personal Gmail account, then you can go to the paid version. They always give you more with the paid version. You can add 300 sources to a single notebook for that. Something else to be aware of is that if you put in a link to a YouTube video, it is using the transcript or the captions from that video. That's the information it's gathering. It's not getting any images or what's happening in the video itself. So if you've noticed, sometimes a lot of YouTube videos just have the automatic captions, which aren't always that high of a quality. Like terminology gets spelled wrong, names get spelled wrong, or it just doesn't understand something completely. So when you use that YouTube video as a source, whatever it has for that automatic caption, that's the source material that it's going to use. So if you've got bad captions, then you're going to have bad input for your source. And we talked about the discover source option that you could use. So now let's talk about the next part. Let's say you've added in your sources and now you want to work with the AI. So this middle section, the chat, is very similar to what you could get with a regular AI chatbot. You can ask it questions, you can ask it to create something, and you'll get the answers here. But the difference is that it is using your sources to answer your questions or to create whatever you're asking for. And it also creates something, you can also go in learning guide mode, and I'll show you that. So let's hop out of here, go in here. So here's the chat section. Oh, I had a question here. Let me, just so you don't have to watch me type, I'll copy this and I will put it in the chat, the question section. I will click submit. And it's using all of my 12 sources. What are the top 5 faculty concerns about assessment now that AI is so freely available to students? So it's checking all of my sources. Oh, it's in the learning mode. There we go. Sorry, pretend you didn't see that. I'm gonna refresh this. And then there we go. I'm gonna type in my question again. There we go. What are the top 5 concerns? And it's generating, so based off of the sources I have in here. Okay, so it's generated the 5 top concerns based off of what I have inputted here. Now, the nice thing about you can do just straight up Google Gemini and get this information, but you don't know when you're just using Gemini without NotebookLM, you don't know where it's getting the information from. So with this, it's nicer because you can click right here. There's little footnotes. And it'll tell you the information. If I click on the footnote, it'll actually go to the source that it used and highlight that section. So it's a way for you to check, because something to keep in mind that even though you've uploaded the sources, so you've eliminated some of the garbage, quite frankly, that's out on the internet. So you have what you consider legitimate sources, but what's happening, it also is using the AI algorithms to predict the answers, so it can still be wrong, even though you put in good information to start with. And if you notice right here at the bottom, it says NotebookLM can be inaccurate. Please double check its responses. So you should check this. If you look at something and you're like, that doesn't sound right, then you can check that. The other thing to consider with all of these is that once you've gotten an answer or something that you like, when you leave this and come back or click the refresh, all that information is gone. So it's not like a regular AI chatbot where you can go back and you can trace all of your previous conversations. So if you want to save this information, you need to save it to notes. And then it'll come up here on the right-hand side as a note for you. You can also copy the information and paste it into a Google Doc or whatever. Okay, so the chat you can use to ask it a question. You could ask it to create, you can tell it to just use particular sources. For this one, I had to use all my sources, but I can turn that off and I can say, just use this PDF and this one and this, and then answer the question based off of that. I can also ask it to create something just like a regular AI chatbot. Use the AI in higher education meta summary to suggest 3 potential research questions related to whatever you want, research questions, create an outline for that. So again, very similar to what you get in a regular AI chatbot, but you have the addition of being able to look at the sources to verify. Now, the other option that you have is the learner mode. So I'm just going to refresh this, get rid of all of that. I'm going to use all my sources. And at the very top here, there's a little symbol. It says configure notebook, which is not that intuitive. If I click on that, I can choose learning guide and click save. So now I can say, let's get started. And it's going to look at all of these, and I would use this if I wanted to learn about this topic based off of the content that I've uploaded. So I'm saying, oh, this covers some key topics. Again, I have my footnotes that I can go back to. And it says, how much do you know about these topics? And what is your high-level goal for learning today? So I'll just say, I have very little knowledge about this, and I'd like a general idea of the major issues. So now it's going to, based off of my response, come back and tell me, oh, great goal. It's always very, very flattering to you. And it gives you the list of what it sees as the major issues. Now, which area of these sounds the most interest for you to discuss first? So it's a back and forth. It's not just dumping information on you. You can make it more targeted. So that is the, if you're up here, that is the learning guide that you can use. All right, let's go here. All right, demonstrated that to you. Just some tips. It can be inaccurate. Check the box for the sources you want NotebookLM to use. You can make a note, a source, and you need to save your chat responses as notes because the chat is not saved. All right, now let's take a look at the studio. Time's going by fast. I see questions. We're going to do questions at the end, Ernest. I feel like I see Ernest typing, so he's on it there. All right, so on the right-hand panel is the studio. And the studio, with the studio, you can create an audio overview, a video overview, mind map, reports, flashcards, quizzes, and much more. So let's take a look at, I'm going to demonstrate this for you. An audio overview and a video overview. We'll start. These are the ones that have like generated the most buzz out there. So an audio overview. What it will do is it will create an AI generated podcast based on your sources. And you can have all of your sources selected or just some of them. Now this takes a while for it to do. So I am going to choose one that's, I already did this yesterday, so we can take a look at it. But just keep in mind that the NotebookLM came up with the name of this podcast. It came up with the script for the podcast, and then you'll hear the two podcast hosts. So let me play this.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something huge. I mean, it's affecting pretty much every school, every university out there.
Yeah, it really is.
This whole issue of generative AI,
So we have two hosts, AI hosts. This is 12 minutes that it's created. There are also some, the audio overview, depending on the length of it, you can go into what's known as interactive mode. When you do this, you can interact with the host while the podcast is playing. So I'm going to click play audio, and we have to get back again. So.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something huge. I mean, it's affecting pretty much every school, every university out there.
Yeah, it really is.
This whole issue of generative AI, things like, oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hi, what do you think is the best resource for finding out information about this?
That is a fantastic question.
They're really timely one, actually.
Because what we've been discussing, this crisis of academic integrity, it requires so many different sources.
Exactly. It's not just one resource, but a few key areas.
Okay, I will pause it. It is pretty cool, I will say that. I didn't expect something like that, but we will talk about some of the challenges with that. You can say it was good, it was bad. So that's the audio overview. You don't have much control over it. So you can select what sources you wanted to create the podcast based off of. If I click on this pencil icon, the default is that deep dive where they get really deep into it. You can do a brief one, critique, debate. You can choose the language. You can choose the length, and then you could ask it to have the host focus on something specific. So those are some options that you have with that. Video overview. Oh, I didn't mean to click it. Okay, so video overview. You click on it and it's generating. So it even tells you this may take a while. So let me, show you one that I already had done. So this video overview, very similar. It's all AI generated. It came up with the title. It came up with the slides that we're about to see, the script, the voices. So we're going to play this.
All right, let's talk about a fascinating paradox that's playing out on college campuses right now. It's a story about how a piece of
So I can click ahead to, I can go to, it has multiple slides in here. It's almost
ask an AI to write an essay, you could just knows, and it might even help them learn better in the
So that is the video overview. It's like the podcast, but it has a presentation that goes with it. And it's still generating the one that I started at the beginning there. All right, let me just show you. All right, so video. Okay, some tips, things to be aware of. Again, the overviews can be inaccurate. They tend to have a marketing tone as well. I entered our information about our DFI, like links to our website, and we were like the best thing that ever happened according to this podcast. But it also added in things that we don't do. So it wasn't completely accurate. So you do have to be aware of that. And for this, you cannot trace back the sources. So where did it get that information from? I mean, from your sources, but it's doing a little bit of ad-libbing in there as well. For these audio and video overviews, there's no ability to add captions within NotebookLM. It can take a long time to generate these, depending on the number of sources that you have. And you do have limits. Google does place limits on the number that you can generate each day. And if you want to customize either of them, you have to click the pencil icon before you click on the button to generate the content. Okay. Ooh, 8 minutes. Try it. All right, mind mapping. So you can have it create a mind map of just all of your resources or of a specific resource. And this video is still chugging along. So I created this mind map. I just clicked on mind map and it generated this AI challenges. And this is, again, it came up with the title and now it's mapping out the main points. If I click on any of these arrows, it will expand out the node for that, for the mind map. You can also go right down here and expand all nodes. So this is the complete mind map that it created from my 11 sources. Now this one, very little control. You cannot check the sources where it's getting this from. I can't change this in any way. So if something's wrong, I don't have the ability to change it. I could download this as a PNG if I wanted to share it. And the option that I have is I can say it's good content or bad content to provide the AI with some feedback. So something to think about if it's something that you think would be helpful to you for studying. The other thing it can create are flashcards. So again, with all of these, you can specify which sources you want it to use. For this version that I created earlier today, I picked off 5 sources. And then if I click on the flashcard, let's take a look. So it gives me the question. And then if I click on it, it gives me the answer to that question. And after I've answered it, I can click on the explain. And the explain will give me what resource that it used so that I can go back to it. And I can go to the next question. This one, oh my goodness, it created 60 cards. And you could just go through them and answer the questions as you're going through. So those are flashcards, and it's good that you can check the source for the information. Let me just double check to make sure there's nothing more I want to say about this. Mind maps, okay. Okay, mind maps, can't verify, we've said that. Flashcards, you can customize the number of cards, the level of difficulty, and the topic for your flashcards. And similar to a quiz, you can have it create a quiz. Let me just show you flashcards. I can say You can't say the exact number, you can say fewer, the standard number, which that was 60 it created. You could say fewer or more, easy, medium, or hard, and then you can give it more focus if there's something specific you want it to zero in on. Quizzes, it's the same thing. You can have number of questions, level of difficulty, and what topic should it focus on. Let me find a quiz for you here. Okay. This one I used all 11 sources. Click on assessment quiz. In the study on AI detection, what was the primary finding regarding free services teachers' ability to identify AI generated essays? They were largely unable to correctly identify the sources. So I'll say right. Yes, that's right. If I click on explain, it'll give me the sources that it used to create that question and get the answer. So that's helpful for that. And then next, notice though that I only get a hint before I answer the question. It doesn't give me an explanation before. So we're going to do that and complete the quiz. Quiz, you can only connect it after and you can customize. Okay. It also can create reports, which this is literally changing every week in terms of the types of reports that you can create, a briefing doc, a study guide, a blog post. I'm not going to show you all of those, so that might be something you might want to experiment with on your own, because I do want to mention about sharing. So you can share notebooks with others. And for some of these resources, like the audio and the audio overview and the video overview, you can download them and then as an MP4, MP3, and then share them by uploading them to your Google Drive. Or you can share your whole notebook up here in the upper right-hand corner. You can click share, and then you can type in the people that you want to share it. Similar to other items in Google Workspace. So let's go. Alrighty. Considerations for use. So things to think about. Do not upload your personal information to this or any. Don't upload your tax returns, your passwords, your banking information, your health information. When you're using TC Gemini, when you're logged in with your TC account, we do have an agreement with Google that whatever you input is not used to train the model, which is something people worry about. But even though we have a contract, we all know, all of us get emails, texts, whatever, that wherever we have our information was breached. So there's always a possibility that it could be hacked. So I would not recommend uploading any personal information to this. Hallucinations. So it does give you inaccurate information. So if you're using this as a student to study, you should know some basic information about your topic, enough to know if something comes up on the quiz or on the mind map, but you'd be like, that doesn't sound right. And so you should be able to check the sources to verify that. Copyright issues, you do have to be concerned about. You're uploading it to the AI, and then if you're sharing the notebook to others, they have access to those sources as well. And then always with all the AI, environmental issues, these AI tools require incredible computational power. So they use tons of electricity. They need drinkable water to be able to be cooled. So something to consider if it's when you're using these tools, if it's worth it. And then finally, 1 minute to go. We will answer questions. Ernest and I can stay for a bit if any questions have come up, but we have more events coming up. So I'll share these slides. Here's a link, QR code as well. We also have a Learn About AI video series that we recently posted to YouTube. So on it, this is where we will post the recording of this. I will send everybody an email once it's up there. So we have previous recordings of AI webinars. We also have started this quick start series. So this is about NotebookLM. It's just 5 minutes brief overview if you don't want to watch the whole 30 minutes and next month you decide you want to give it a try. So those are some resources that are available to you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you. I am going to stop the recording.